Welcome to Midlife Moves, where we're figuring out this whole midlife thing one day, one workout, and one what the hell just happened moment at a time. I'm Heather, and if you're navigating career shifts, fitness goals, parenting teenagers, or just wondering when the hell we became the grown-ups, you're in the right place. Let's talk about the real stuff, no filters, just honest conversations and a little bit of chaos. Let's get into it. Hi. Welcome back to another episode of Midlife Moves. I'm Heather Francis. Today's episode is a special one for me. They're all special for me. I love everyone I talk to. But today you're going to hear an interview with someone who was foundational in my fitness journey, Coach Tilly Mardle. I worked with Tilly when I was looking for more structure in my workouts. And more importantly, I needed help with nutrition. I had no problem showing up to lift weights, but when it came to food, I really struggled. I didn't want anyone telling me what to eat. And like a lot of women, the moment I felt like I had to restrict something, it made me want it even more, which I'm sure most people can appreciate. Tilly met me where I was. She gave me a clear plan, taught me how to track macros without obsessing over them. And most importantly, she helped me shift how I thought about food. She was never extreme. She never put me on a restrictive diet. In fact, I started at 1,900 calories and eventually moved up to 2,500. And, all of that was without gaining weight or losing progress or, it was all just part of the plan. But that alone was a mindset breakthrough. We did weekly check-ins. So every Monday was our check-in date. And I was obsessing over something nutrition related or something I'm sure that was inconsequential. And she said to me, "You're a lifestyle client. You're not a bodybuilder. You're allowed to enjoy your life." And that stuck with me. That changed everything for me, understanding, what that means. Today, you're going to hear us talk about all of that. The mindset blocks around food, the trap of the all or nothing mentality, and how to find balance without guilt. We're going to talk about carbs, wine, and yes, pasta. I loved every second of this conversation, and I hope you get as much out of it as I did. Let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Tilly Mardle. Tilly is my first coach. I was with her for a year and a half. She is a lifestyle coach, but also a coach of coaches. So Tilly, I'm just going to ask you first, I'm going to thank you for joining me today. This is very exciting for me because this is the first time we're actually talking like face to face, through Zoom, but this is because we've checked in via video before. So anyway, thank you for doing this with me.
Of course.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am female online fitness coach. It just rolls off the tongue. That's what I say I am. And I recently, although I find not as much, I'm kind of focusing more on the one-to-one clients for like females specifically who want physique transformations, but I also coach coaches. So if people want to work with me because they want to be a better coach with a healthful approach to nutrition, mindset, and coaching, specifically women, then I work with people who want to progress in the coaching sphere, whether they're new or they're an existing coach that wants to just expand their knowledge a little bit more and learn some better practices, I think, and not the toxic practices that are so prevalent right now.
When you and I were working together, one of the biggest challenges I had coming into my fitness journey and my learning about wellness was the nutrition aspect. I liked working out. I didn't always, but once I started strength training, I loved strength training. It was the nutrition aspect that I really, really struggled with. And that was where you and I spent a lot of time focusing. And my relationship with food and nutrition is much cleaner and stronger now because of the work that you and I did. And obviously that was over a year and a half. So like the people listening to this, it's not going to be, they're not going to have the same relationship with food that I have, after listening to us for 45 minutes or, whatever this interview is. But I thought that it would be a really good opportunity for women who are looking to get into like a fitness journey or a wellness transformation to start hearing about nutrition, like in healthy nutrition and healthy ways to view food. So when someone comes to you feeling really overwhelmed and like that's their main sticking point,
Yep.
Where do you even start with them?
So let's say I'm reading a check-in form or a onboarding form or talking to someone, and I will be able to straight away pinpoint whether I think this person has a good relationship with food or has a relationship with food that we need to work on. So straight away, I think what a lot of people do is put pressure on themselves, and it's like, and the all or nothing approach is everywhere. 99.9% of my clients come to me with it, right? So first things first, straight off the bat, is there's no pressure here. Okay. People expect instant results for themselves, not just from me, but for and from themselves. So my job is to really take all of that pressure off straight away. And it's funny because you'd think that starting with a coach means like, oh shit, the pressure's on, I've paid money, I'm going to give time, I'm going to give effort, I expect to see X, Y, and Z. But if we need to work on our relationship with food first and let the physique transformation be a bit of a byproduct, which it kind of was for you, right? We did a lot of the mental work.
Oh, yeah.
And as a result, the physique started changing because the habits and the practices that we were moving away from are now like looking healthier and not so toxic. So first things first is taking the pressure off and then stepping away from the all or nothing mindset. But I always give people, when we say straight away, I'm talking like a 2 to 3 week grace period. When they're first starting out, I want them to know that this is just right now for me to get an idea of how what I'm saying and like suggesting that we do fits in with your current lifestyle. Because what so many people try and do is everything. They go from 0 to 100 and it doesn't work because no one, can live like that. No one goes from doing no cardio to an hour of cardio every single day, or these step numbers that are crazy, or restricting all these. That doesn't. When does that work? When does that work for anyone? And if it does work, it backfires at a later date. I've been there. So yeah, initially when we say like straight away in a physique world, we're looking at like a 0 to week 3 period where I can really analyze what I'm saying and what I'm wanting from someone and how it fits in with their lifestyle, and then making amendments and just drilling in straight away from the get-go. There's no pressure. And then if specific things come up, like I fear carbs, for example, then we're going to be into a lot more detail. Like I would already have something to say about the fact that you can eat carbs, and I'm going to program you carbs, and it doesn't have to be a crazy amount. We'll start introducing them slowly. And then the amazing thing is that proof becomes the pudding. So people's mindset is changing because they're actually seeing the proof. It's very difficult to tell someone to trust you when it's not reflected in something, in a statistic or in a visual. So it's like, oh, trust me, you can eat carbs, but every time they eat carbs, they gain weight. Because they don't know that, of course, carbohydrates draw water into the muscles. So naturally you are going to gain weight on the scale, but it doesn't mean it's body fat. And then we work together. And it's over time, of course, like you said, like a year and a half. Like it takes time. You can't just tell someone they can do this and they can do that. And they're like, who is this girl telling me what to do? Like, no, I can't. You don't know how my body works. So you have to like work with them at least for a few weeks and let them see the results for themselves.
I remember when we first started working, because one of the first things you had me do was track my food. And that was a rough practice.
Yeah.
That was really rough. But I remember we identified that my like major problem area was like at like 3:00, I would just start eating everything. I would just I don't know if I would get bored or just hungry, and I would just like snack, and it was just whatever I could grab. And so by the time, like after that year and a half, I was, instead of just like grabbing like a bag of chips or like whatever I wanted, it's just much more intentional eating. So I never stopped snacking.
Exactly. If you are just mindlessly eating, you have no idea what you're consuming. If you're mindfully being a little bit more aware, and tracking is such it's not for everyone. And there are people who I would suggest not tracking, and there are people who I would suggest tracking. But if it's from an educational or a knowledge standpoint, to know how much you're eating or not eating, goes both ways, then I have no issue with people wanting to track. I've tracked for a long time. I no longer track because I have that knowledge. I can eyeball foods, right? But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it with the right people. I think it taught us a lot initially because we were we kind of, I think we've maintained, didn't we? Then we went down into a fat loss phase, and then we went up, and we were still tracking, even like trying to make sure you were eating enough.
Oh,
not
yeah.
just trying to like always be, you're only tracking and counting calories if you're trying to lose fat. Like it was trying to eat more. So it goes both ways.
Yeah. And right now I'm tracking again because I started getting really carried away, and I started like forgetting a lot of the things that I learned. And so I just was eating, not things that are like, to your, I know what you're going to say. Don't get off track. I know what you're going to say. I can hear it every time. I'm like, well, Kelly says it's not off track. But I started to forget some of the things that I learned. And I was just very careless with everything I was putting in my body. Like I was like, oh, another beer or another glass of wine, and then like, okay, Oreos for a snack makes sense. Like I just started getting really carried away with it. So then I was like, oh, I started just feeling it. And so then I am tracking a little bit now just to kind of pull me back into, what feels good. Just like what feels good.
Yeah.
But even at my lowest, Tilly, I was still eating 1,900 calories. And I think that that's probably what scares a lot of women. I think a lot of women think like they have to like take it down to 1,200 calories.
Yeah. And if I'm telling them to eat more, I get a lot of like, I was really scared when I saw that number. Like that is not what I've been told. That is not. And I'm just thinking, okay, if you have a bad relationship with food, 1,200 calories is a big danger zone. We want to avoid that at all costs. No one I coach is anywhere near 1,200 calories. And the results speak for themselves, right? But even that aside, because there are, more to progress than just physically, there's a lot of mental progress with everyone. But if you're struggling with a relationship with food, or you have tendencies of overeating or binge eating or emotional eating, then restriction, big no. Actually, you'd find really good results at eating more consistently throughout the day, being full, being satiated, and then not getting to afternoon or evening and eating everything in sight, because in fact you're ravenous, because 1,200 calories is enough for a toddler. So, where's the
calories? It's nuts.
Yeah. Where's the logic there?
So we've kind of touched on it a little bit, but what do you think is the biggest mindset block people have with nutrition?
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
There is nothing that I say more in my life than the words all or nothing. And there is nothing that I see more in people's onboarding forms that are all or nothing. It's just, I'm either tracking my food, eating in a deficit, doing my workouts, doing my cardio, doing my steps, or nothing. There is no in between. And if I miss a day, that's it. Can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I've got a bit of a potty mouth. I'm trying.
You too.
But it's fuck it. Well, I haven't trained 3 times this week. I only went twice, so I may as well. And then we spiral. May as well eat the pizza, drink the bottle of wine, go out with my friends, start again on Monday, and that cycle just continues until someone, me, comes in and literally cuts that circle in half. And that is no way that you're never going to progress if that is how we think. So actually we have to stop thinking like that. Easier said than done, because it's then practicing what I'm teaching. Like, it's one thing to tell people to stop the all or nothing mindset. You can't think like this. And it's easy. What I actually need you to do is, if you do go twice to the gym, that you continue tracking your food, that you continue getting in your steps. You actually have to implement what I'm saying, because it's one thing to say, oh, I get it. Like I would feel like off track, or, fuck it, whatever, if I didn't do something. But actually, I want you to make sure that you continue doing everything else just because you didn't go to the gym, or you didn't get your steps in, or you were unwell Monday to Wednesday. So you think, I've already missed the week. It's already Wednesday and I haven't done anything, so I may as well not bother Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No. I want you to, if you are well enough, obviously if there's injuries, then please rest. But if you are well enough, that you go to the gym Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The only way to break an all or nothing cycle is to actually physically break it, not mentally. You have to physically do the things that you are struggling so hard to do because mentally it's blocking you. Break through it by actually doing those actions. So all or nothing mindset is the biggest roadblock. And probably, it might even be like, unless there's, a severe injury or mental health, or there's something that's really preventing someone from doing something, all or nothing is the reason nearly 100% of people that I know or coach fail.
Yeah.
Or can't quite get there yet until someone says, this is what we need to do. And then they all succeed. I literally have not coached anyone who hasn't been like, this has changed my mindset. This has changed everything because the way that I'm teaching. So yeah, all or nothing mindset.
Do you know what you said to me one time that really resonated? Well, one, you were always very, like, if I had a bad week and I was like, and I would like make a big deal about it in our check-in, you were just like, so what?
Yeah, bingo.
So what? But then I remember the day that you were like, you're a lifestyle client. You're still living your life. You're going to go out to dinner with your friends. Like, you're going to do these things. And that's okay. Like, you're not like, you don't need to be some shape or, like, you're a lifestyle client. This is just you living your life. I remember because I thought of that 100 times after that. I was just like, this is just living my life. I'm just living my life.
Yeah, I'm a lifestyle client. No, I have to remind people, I think because this world of like, social media has a lot to do with it. This world of like fitness, bodybuilders, the way that people look, normal people think that that's how they have to live. Now, if you're talking about a fitness influencer, you're talking about someone who makes their whole life based off how they look. That's just how it is. That's how they live. And a bodybuilder is a competitor, like they're an athlete. So like an Olympian, like all these people that compete, an actual athlete. Why would Sandra, who lives down the road with 3 kids, a 9-to-5 job, and, a mum who needs care, be living like a bodybuilder or a track athlete?
Yeah.
We have to stop thinking that we're living up to some sort of expectation that is not, is not your expectation. That is not how you're ever going to meet your goals, because your goals are not their goals, and vice versa. You're not going to be a track star. You're not going to be on a stage in a bikini. You don't have to do those things. You want to go out for dinner. You want to go on holiday. You want to go on date nights. It's a lot of, like you said, I don't make a big deal out of things, and I tend to watch people overcomplicate things and just come in from like this, oh, but it's fine. Oh, that's okay. You went out for dinner?
You were just,
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why am I stressing if she's not stressing? And I'm thinking,
take a breath. Yeah.
It's like, where did you go? What did you have? It sounds nice.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I still get that a lot. Someone literally, I just did a check-in obviously this morning, and one of them was they went away this weekend, and she was upset the scale went up when she came back. And I said, like, I want you to not, obviously I didn't go into my spiel, but I want you to not be focusing on things like the scale when you just come off the back of like a lovely weekend with your girls celebrating, I think it was someone's anniversary. Like, you've had wine, you've had food, and then straight away you step on a little machine and that brings you down, and now you feel deflated. Can we not just think about how much fun we have living our lives with our friends, and how privileged we are to have a group of friends that we can travel with? And like, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. It just takes just a pep talk sometimes.
It's that perspective. Like, we just lose perspective sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you're good at providing that.
Thanks.
So if somebody listening was to implement 1 or 2 practical nutrition habits, regardless of their goals, what is there 1 or 2 that you can think of that you just think everybody?
Yeah, I wrote 2 down. 1, always cook your protein when you get home. So I'm on a meal prep company, so I don't have to like do any cooking, which is great because I'm like a no cooker. I hate cooking, right? But if and when I do cook, and when I used to, protein was cooked straight away. So because I'm not like a massive meal prepper myself, and I know that people don't like to spend hours cooking in the evening, meal prepping for the week. Like, who has time for that? And again, like, you're not a bodybuilder, you don't need to be doing that. Okay. So, but if you want to have some sort of like, not handle on your nutrition, but you want to make sure you're hitting your protein. And as we should be, I can't sit here and be like, I'm very relaxed, but say that protein isn't important. It absolutely is, especially as we get older. Like, it is important. Always have your protein cooked, because it's the only thing that you can't eat raw, all my carbs, if I want them to be, they could be wraps, they could be bread, they could be microwavable, pasta, rice, right? So easy. All my veggies, salad, raw. So I've already avocado, raw, you know, all my fats, raw. The only thing you can't eat raw is protein. So if you open the fridge and you've got to cook stuff, I'm going to go, no, and I'll order something. Okay. But I've seen it. I've done it. I know myself. So I'm already going to stop myself from doing that by opening the fridge and going, okay, well, I've got chicken breast cooked here. I've got wraps there. I'm going to put a chicken breast in a wrap, put on some lettuce, put on some avocado, and it's a 3-minute meal. And it's met my macros. I've hit my protein. It's made me full. It tastes good. So always cook your protein. As soon as you get in and you're back from the store, pan it, cook it, put it in the fridge.
I just wrote that down because I hate, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is eat what you enjoy. Loads of people I've seen just over the, unless you're a bodybuilder, unless you're prepping, and I can only say that because that's my history. Like, I've done it, so I know what that looks like. But to be fair, I made a funny thing yesterday about telling myself I like this food when actually, yeah, I didn't hate the food. I really didn't hate the food. But eating what you don't enjoy because you think that it is like, oh, I need to eat a protein shake after I finish the gym, but I hate protein and water, or I need to eat this because no. Experiment. Eat foods that you like, because when you eat foods that you like, you're going to stick to something. If you keep eating foods that you don't like, mentally and physically, you're not really that satiated. And that's when you're going to start craving a lot of other foods that you're restricting. So it's like, eat the foods that you actually enjoy eating. If you want chocolate, you don't have to eat chocolate, avocado, powdered milk mousse. You can just eat a little bit of chocolate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You don't have to make it complicated.
You don't. It's not, if you want to, by all means, experiment and I'm used to make this really good. If I want chocolate, I actually just have chocolate, fine. But I also have chocolate in a chocolate protein pancake with real chocolate melted on top. So I make it a meal itself. It's therefore, I'm not just like, I'd just be hungry if I had a bit of chocolate. I would be hungry. I know me. So I'd rather have a whole freaking meal and then loads of chocolate on top. And then I'm still going to hit my protein. It's a meal. And I've got, 20 grams of chocolate chips melted in there, which they go a really long way, by the way. Like, chocolate chips are a little hack when it comes to chocolate. But yeah, eat it because you enjoy it, not because you think you have to. Like, going out for dinner, I get a lot of people saying, like, what should I eat when I go out for dinner? What do you enjoy? Mm-hmm. That's what you should eat. And they're like, oh, okay, I thought that I had to. No, when you go out for dinner, I don't want you to be thinking that you need to be limiting yourselves, because that's just spirals, right? You go out for dinner, you eat a Caesar salad, everyone else has got pizza and burgers. You eat a Caesar salad, you go home and you eat the cupboards because you didn't actually just eat what you wanted to at dinner, when that was the perfect opportunity to have someone else cook a lovely meal for you, be with your friends and enjoy it, not to be like, I'm going to have water and a salad. You don't need to do that.
I'm still really bad with that. My husband and I go out to dinner we're in a strange position where it's strange for us, where the kids are not home on Friday and Saturday nights anymore. So we have like time to ourselves. Cute. So we've been going out and we go out to dinner usually Friday and Saturday nights anyway. But we went this past Saturday night, we were at a restaurant. And I was like, I would love the pasta, but I got a salad. Because I was like, and the salad I got was excellent. Like, it was an excellent salad.
Yeah.
But pasta is my favorite. Pasta and ice cream. If I could live off of 2 foods, it would be those 2 foods. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're like no nutritional value, but it's still hard. Like, even now, I still struggle with it because I got the salad. I didn't get the pasta.
Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't. It's probably because I don't actually love pasta. Like, I like it, but something that I always do is get protein with whatever meal I have. So even if I'm out, I usually always favor a steak or a fish or something like that. If I get pasta, I can get pasta, but it has to have it has to be like a shrimp pasta, or it has to have chicken, or it has to have a beef in it. So the pasta itself absolutely is just another carb source. So whether I had fries, rice, pasta, bread, it doesn't matter. That's just a carb source. But I don't love pasta, so I wouldn't tend to go for it. But I make sure I have something that I enjoy, and it always tends to be steak or like fish, because I wouldn't cook fish in the house. I love it, but I just don't cook it because it stinks. So
Yeah.
I make the point of when I go out to eat something that I wouldn't personally cook. If it was a salad, I would avoid having a salad, for example, because I can make a salad.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not choose that because it would be like, I could make that. I'd always go for something that would be like, I'm not going to cook lobster anytime soon, so I'll have the lobster, you know?
Sometimes I'm okay with it, and sometimes, like this past week, I got the salad, and sometimes the salad's great, but sometimes it's
If you really wanted it, I feel like you would have if you really wanted the pasta that bad, would you actually tell yourself you can't have something?
no, I don't think so. What I would do though is I would probably not have like my husband likes to get appetizers, and they're always like chips and salsa. I would probably not eat the chips just because I know, but that's mostly because I know how my body reacts to it, and I know that I don't feel good. Like
Yeah.
when I have like a bunch of chips and salsa and then another like carb
Yeah.
source, like I just don't feel good after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. If you feel a certain type of way, and as long as it's not yourself telling yourself that you feel a type of way,
Right.
if you actually physically can feel the difference, then yeah, obviously eat what works for you and your body and your mind, but don't not eat the pasta because you think the pasta is bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get
Is this
there.
a coaching session?
We'll get there.
Baby
Well, it's
steps,
great.
baby steps.
Baby steps. And
We
even
have-
like a year and a half later, like it's
Yeah,
still
no.
like,
Because I was talking about this with someone when she said, I think I've been working with her for like 15 weeks. Okay.
Mhm.
But she's, I don't know, let's say 45. I said, how many years has this been your mindset? She said, my mum was like this. So about 25 years. Okay. So I'm trying to undo 25 years of your thinking in 15 weeks. Give me some time. We're getting there. But it's not just going to come in a matter of weeks or even a year, because this is how you've been. This is so ingrained in the way
Yes.
you're thinking that you have to keep facing those challenges. And it's a challenge, being out at a restaurant and then not ordering what you think you actually want because you think, oh, I should have a salad because I'm trying to be good. It's a challenge. You're constantly faced with challenges. So you either overcome them or you don't. But it's like sometimes you do, like you said, sometimes you don't. So it's just picking and choosing when you actually want to.
yeah. Yeah, it is.
But it takes a long time to undo those ways of thinking.
And to your point, I was 42 when you and I started working together.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a lot of years of conditioning of, like it's all new.
It's a new way of thinking, and it's a scary way of thinking, because if you're so ingrained to thinking that if I have pasta, I'm going to get fat, and I just know that is a narrative.
It is.
So I know that people think that.
So part of mine, not to get off on a tangent, but like part of mine is because I've had 4 babies. So like I start to gain weight and it goes directly to my belly. And I hate that. So there's always like that little like niggling, like, okay, well, you have to be careful, because if you gain weight appropriately, like it's not a big deal. But if you gain weight I think you and I had a conversation one time, and we talked about a dirty bulk, because when I needed to put weight on.
Yeah.
And the difference between like doing it that way and then like just increasing calories a little bit, and like what that would look like.
Gradually increasing. But just to give some maths here, you have to eat, gosh, I've actually forgotten the number. You have to eat something like 3,500 calories above your current maintenance in order to gain a pound of fat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I might want
Again, perspective.
But it's a lot of calories.
Yeah, that is a lot of calories.
Because a pound of fat weighs 3,500 calories, I believe. So you have to eat over that in order to gain a pound of fat over your maintenance. So if your maintenance is 2,000, you need to clear 5,500 calories in order to gain a pound of fat. That is not going to happen over one pasta dish. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're right. Yeah, right. No, that's good perspective. See, I miss you, Tilly.
But it's a way to look at it, because it's, if you're maintaining currently, then you can have a pasta, then you can have a salad, then you can have a pasta, then you can have a burger, then you can actually, the more you can eat, the better you are to be able to eat those things, because your body's just conditioned to like that number of calories, or the pastas, and the pasta isn't the highest in calories anyway. Some of the salads I see in restaurants are tipping 1,000 calories because of the dressing and the oil.
Yes. Yeah, and like all the bacon, and some of them I'm like, I'll just get a burger.
Honestly, burgers are like pretty fail safe, to be honest. I had burgers last weekend. Delicious. Like,
I love burger.
yeah, it was really good.
I love food. I just like food.
Yeah,
Just like
I'm with
food.
you. I'm with you. I can't be one of those people that's like, well, I guess I can be one of those people not eating for taste. I did it for many years, but I actually like food and I like the experience of food with people and date
Yeah.
nights. It's just nice.
Yeah. So you have helped me find a sustainable way to eat that worked for my life.
Mhm.
Was that always your coaching philosophy? So because you work with solely women, so how, as you've worked with more women, how has your coaching philosophy evolved?
That's a really good. I've actually got one guy on my team at the minute, so shout
Do
out to.
you really?
I, I said out of interest because I just, I market solely for females. Why would you want to come with me? He was really open and honest and nice about it, and we're getting on really well. So yeah, I said I'm not like, if a guy wants to come, that's absolutely fine. If I think we're going to be a good match, then sure. But looking back, even I went all in on coaching 3 years ago, I think that's right. But obviously was in fitness for the last 6-7 years. I did my PT qualification nearly 10 years ago, a long time. So I've always been like, keeping my eye on it. But even 2 years ago, I think I was probably a lot more rigid in my practices just because I was rigid in my practices. So, it slowly, maybe when I became untied with the industry of competing, that then naturally flowed into the way that I was coaching. Yeah, I think it really did, because if I look back at, even I could find some protocols. I think I was putting people on way more protein than now I would put people on, because I understand that actually that is not a normal amount of protein. I was eating 180 grams a day, and I was maybe giving lifestyle girls 140, 150, but still that's on the high end of protein. Whereas now I'm much more likely to program 120, 110. If someone doesn't know anything about protein, 100. Let's just start there. So I think I've softened with my coaching as I've softened with myself and with nutrition and my practices. So it's naturally just been the way that, because you kind of coach through what you know.
Right.
So when I started to just naturally, for no reason other than seeing actually what more people's lifestyles look like and how I needed to adapt to their lifestyle, it just flowed in that direction. And that's the coach I am now. And that's the coach I'm trying to teach, not the crazy bodybuilding type coach.
Because you have that bodybuilding background. It was fascinating to me that you were so able to separate, because that is an extremely, that's a wildly disciplined lifestyle. Yeah. That's I remember one of your Instagram stories where you explained how many calories you were on by the end of your prep. And how much cardio you were doing.
Yeah.
And I think I turned to my husband and was like, holy shit. Holy shit. That's crazy.
I like to remind people of that when they're like, I did 15 minutes on the stairs. It was so and it was so hard, or I hated it. And I'd be like, that's fine. I mean, I've been there. I used to do 2 hours on the stairs. So I get it. And they're like, oh. And I never say that to make people feel bad. It's more from a jokey point of view. But I just give them tips onto how I managed to do 2 hours was watching endless YouTube vlogs, endless Netflix, endless Prime. Girls, if I can do it, you can do it. So I didn't used to be like that. My first couple of years in bodybuilding, I was very tunnel vision, very strict, this is what I need to do. This is how I have to do it. There is no if or buts. And everyone should do this to look like this. This is how it is. And then again, my mind broadened, and I was like, actually, no, I could track my macros. I didn't have to eat a meal plan, or actually I could do this type of this or this version like this. And then, by my last prep, I was very much, or actually probably the 2 preps, I was very much like, this is because I'm doing it, but this isn't going to work for everyone. So you don't have to do this. This is because I'm getting on a stage. But if I wasn't getting on a stage, I wouldn't be doing this. Yeah. So it's trying to, because obviously my audience is not, some of them are bodybuilders, but my clients are not bodybuilders. So I don't need to be drilling in with the kind of protocols that I'm doing. I've done it. I've been there. but I don't talk about it a lot, unless of course we're making a joke about cardio, but I don't talk about it because it doesn't serve me, that people might think, oh shit, she's done that, so she's going to make me do that. Like, no.
And that was never like it fascinated me that you were so able to separate the two, like your coaching versus what you were doing personally. Cause I never ever felt like, I just never felt that energy from you ever.
Yeah. No, I make a point now. I don't even have to think about it. It would just never come across that someone needs to do X, Y, or Z to get in shape, but I just use it for reference. But yeah, I think I learned that I choose to do this, and this is because that is my choice, and this is what I have to do to get to where I want to go. But if I was just a normal lifestyle client who wanted to lose a couple of kilos, I would not have to do anything like that. And so I really like actually that I can speak from both ends of the spectrum to give people just a little bit more of a reminder that you're not competing, so you don't have to do that. So enjoy the pasta or enjoy the
So eat the fucking pasta, Heather.
Fucking pasta. Yeah, exactly.
What is a nutrition myth that you just wish would die?
Oh, there's so many.
There's so many.
It's really difficult. I always used to stand by the carbs after 6 p.m. or carbs make you fat. I think the one I probably see the most of, carbs, probably be that carbs make you fat, that inherently carbs make you fat. Or it's that I don't know if it's a nutrition myth, but it's if I eat one cream egg above my calories, that I've ruined it and fucked it for the day.
I've undone everything.
It might be the undoing of something because you've eaten. No, what undoes if I went out for dinner and let's say I was over my calories. Let's say my calories were 2,000. I went out for dinner and my calories are now 3,000 because I had a couple of courses, I had some wine. I then actually, if I went back to just my normal, 2,000 calories every day, training, working out, I'm not going to see any change. But if I went from 3,000 calories, I've already eaten over my calories, so I may as well just go completely crazy and like binge and overate and went up to like 7,000 calories. It can happen. Then I've made a mistake. Then I've done something. I've done some damage to myself, like mentally and physically. Okay. And I say damage, not that weight gains are damage, but that will make an impact.
Yes.
But going out for dinner and then going home and just saying, I had a really nice dinner tonight, and going to sleep is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Overeating because you went out for dinner, that's where the issue is. So it's probably just I don't even know how you put that in a small way of saying it, but thinking that you've undone, it's more of a mindset thing. Thinking you've undone it because you've eaten something bad. Labeling food, that could be.
Labeling. I always go back to that with you because you were in Greece and everything there, what was it? There was no protein.
It was an oil. It was just,
I remember one of the videos you were like, I want ice cream, so I'm just going to have ice cream. And like, there's no protein here. Like, they're just, so like, it is what it is. And like, you were just like, I'm acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And I'm moving on from it.
Yeah. There was a lady behind me. I remember that story vividly. She was behind me and we were like, it's like a little queue, how they bring out like afternoon ice cream. It was really good. She said something like, oh, I'm on holiday. So, calories don't count. And I'm like, I have to bite my tongue to be, well, excuse me, ma'am. Actually, let me talk to you about calories. I didn't want to say anything, like ruin this poor woman's vacation. But that mindset, maybe she was, eating again, just going absolute, just no mindful approach to food. It's not that you shouldn't eat ice cream or enjoy the foods on holiday. That's what I'm saying to do. That's what I want you to do. It's like our girls that go on holiday now that are like, oh, well, how do I navigate going on holiday? And I'm like, you're not a sat nav, so we don't need to navigate anything. I just want you to go on holiday, enjoy, and come home. Stop overcomplicating it. That's as simple as it is. I don't want you to go there and go, right, holiday mode, drink to excess, feel fucking shit the whole time, eat to excess and feel fucking shit the whole time, because you don't actually want to eat these foods. You're doing it because you know that when you get back from holiday, you'll be good again. It's all or nothing again, spiral. You give people a little bit and they take, there's a saying, isn't there? And they take it all, and it's
Yes.
you just don't need to do that. You can just actually enjoy the food on holiday, try a few new things if you fancy it, and nothing's going to happen if you just approach it mindfully. But people are mindless, and that's not a fault of their own. It's because of what's been conditioned. So my job is to get in quickly, like pre-Christmas, pre-Easter, pre-vacations, and help people, understand that it's okay to have a fucking Easter egg. It's okay to have Christmas pudding.
Yes.
What is not okay is that Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, you eat 10,000 calories because in New Year you start a diet.
New year, new you. Yeah.
It's always just like trying to do something and put it behind us to then move forward. We don't have to do anything. We can just enjoy Christmas.
Yeah.
And don't overeat, don't binge, and you'll feel fucking great. You won't need to diet in the new year. How about that? I go, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So if someone listening wants to make one change today, like if they only made one change to improve their relationship with food, what would that one thing be? We kind of touched on this with your tips, but if there's like overarching.
Yeah, relationship with food, one tip. I mean, it stems from so many different physiological factors. If someone, for example, was suffering with binge eating or overeating, I would say stop dieting. That would be a massive, that's the reason why, likely, but it's a pretty big factor. Stop dieting, it's a trigger to binge eating. Yeah. So that would be appropriate for quite a lot of people. So like if someone comes to me and they're suffering with, it might not be an eating disorder per se. I'm not qualified to work with people who are actually actively suffering with an eating disorder, but disordered eating, yes, because that's just unfortunately pretty rife in the public.
That's a lot of us.
A lot of females. It's just very common. So it would straight away be that I'm looking to lose fat, but I'm eating 1,200 calories and I've been chronically yo-yo dieting for the last 5 years. And these, I'm not going to say a number, but they are not what you'd think someone would look like at 1,200 calories who's been dieting chronically for 5 years. Something's not adding up here. So what's actually happening? Oh, well, I tried to stick to 1,200, but then I end up binging every night. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to know. We're not pushing fat loss. No fucking way. Okay, we're going up with calories around whatever it might be for that person. Yeah. Because when you eat more, guess what? You stop binging.
Yeah.
And when you stop binging, overall, obviously your calories are lower than what they would be if you were restricting overeating every day. If we actually were just consistent with a higher number of calories, then you're likely to see a really good result, whether that's physical or mental, because of that, because you ate more. And that's just like, people can't get their head around eating more actually means eating less if you're talking to someone who's come from a overeating or binging history.
Yes.
Yeah, so it'd probably be, I don't want to say stop dieting because obviously I don't know, but if you have a bad relationship with food, then we probably need to reassess what we're currently doing and then eat a little bit more consistently if you're suffering with, binge eating or overeating specifically. But all or nothing mindset. Go out, relax, enjoy, stop freaking out about everything. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it would be the number one thing there. But then, obviously you'd need more context. But I think start with not overcomplicating everything.
Yeah.
And freaking out about the little things, about one pasta dish or about missing one workout. Like those are minor. That is minor in the bigger picture.
That makes sense. I overcomplicated things in the other way. I worked out too much. You used to get frustrated with me because you were like, you have to take a rest day. Like, are you going to listen to me? Because I remember you said you were going to hurt yourself one day and then you're going to have to take a rest day and you're going to have a hard time with it.
There is such a thing as overtraining because, if you don't give yourself a chance, rest and recovery are imperative for physical gains and progress in both aspects, fat loss and muscle building. So if you're not utilizing rest and recovery, it's like you're doing loads of work for not the best result because you're missing one massive piece of the puzzle. That isn't overcomplicating it. The basics are sleep, water, whole foods, strength training.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the basics. If you can only do 4 things, that is them. And everything else, all the little, oh, what supplement should I take? Should I take collagen? Should I do this? Should I do that? We'll focus on that in a long time. Okay. For now, you need to be consistent with activity, training, sleeping, hydration. And then we'll talk about all the other stuff. There's no point taking every greens powder or B12 vitamin under the sun if you're not sleeping 8 hours a day, or you're not drinking. You know how many like these I drink, or if you're not drinking one of these every hour, you're just, you're almost wasting. I don't want to say wasting time, but you could be getting a lot more out of the effort that you are putting in the supplements to other stuff. People think they can just mask everything with supplements, and you can't.
Yeah. If someone wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way to do that? Or if they want to follow you, or...
Yeah, I would say straight out Instagram, Tilly Mardle Fitness. So cliche, but Instagram's the easiest way. You know, I'm getting bigger on TikTok, but I don't talk about fitness as much on TikTok. I'm kind of just talking about everything else. So it's funny that people will message me on TikTok to be like, oh my God, I want to work with you. Like, for fitness, you're a coach, right? And I'm like, why would you even come to me based on what I'm talking about? I'm astonished. Thank you. But
your stuff on TikTok is funny.
Thanks. There's a way of marketing, and I'm trying to just reverse market on TikTok and obviously direct market when it comes to Instagram. So Instagram would be the best way because it is all fitness. So I just try and direct people there. If they ask me about coaching, I'm like, honestly, go to my fitness page. You'll actually see I am legit, because if you're just looking at me on TikTok, like, you would think this girl's a scammer. What do you mean she's a coach? Like, talking about rubbish all the time. But yeah, Instagram, and then send me a DM if any of this resonates with you or you want to know more, and then I'll chat more.
And I'll put your handle in the show notes too.
My TikTok is Tilly Talks with a Z, because I talk a lot. And then my Instagram is the easiest handle to have. Like, I wouldn't even bother with anything else these days. That's just the easiest one to do out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this with me.
You're so welcome. This was a pleasure. You've got everything out of it, and you want to ask me anything else? You know?
I think I'm good. I think I think I'm good. Is there anything else? Is there like a last thing that you would want women to know? Something we didn't cover?
Just eat the pasta. I think the biggest takeaway from here is just eat the carbs, enjoy the glass of wine, go on holiday, enjoy time with your friends. You can still make progress and do all of those things.
Yes. And honestly, I'm going to plug your Instagram account too, because even I still get so much out of your Instagram account, like because you're funny about it. Like you joke about, like, you did a story or a post or something, and it was like how you eat normally, and then how your mind works the day that you start like backing off, or like, go into a deficit. And it's like, oh, I want everything,
like this, cookies, brownies, like I don't think about that kind of stuff. And then as soon as I die, I'm like, oh yeah, I want it.
But seeing you go through that, and hearing, because you're very honest, but you're very you're very straightforward about it. And so knowing that you have those same thoughts and deal with the same things, it's really, really helpful.
No one's exempt from those thoughts. Okay. If you've come from it previously, or even if you've never dieted and you have a great relationship with food, I think at some point we have those thoughts. It doesn't have to be negative, and we can use them positively. Right. But yeah, I think at some point you're going to want something that you think is like, oh, I'm on a diet, I shouldn't have that. But then you're like, oh, please.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. It only lasts a second now, whereas before it might have lasted longer. Like years ago, it would have lasted longer for me. But now it's not even a thought. If I look at the menu, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. So yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
That's it for this episode. If you had fun, learned something, or just feel a little less alone in the chaos, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want to keep the conversation going, come find me on Instagram at @HeatherMoves_, because midlife is way more fun when we do it together. Until next time, keep moving forward, or at least keep moving. See ya.